one's for all my brothers and sisters that die.
Abraham talk, Muhammad talk, and Moses split the sea. I ain't trying to profit off the prophet, so this one here's for free. G's up, along with Muhammad and Jesus. In the Quran they call him Isa. Don't think Osama and Saddam is our leader. We pray for peace, but the drama intrigues us all, so we fall for the illusions of the beast. So instead of trying to teach, we show our teeth. Same God, different beliefs. Hijab, Sunday clothes, yarmulke, kufi. Same mission beneath. We all trying to get to where the suffering ends. In front of the Most High, being judged for our sins. Can't front for the Most High, so the struggle continues. You, every bee, bird, and tree, he, her, and me, we virtually on the same boat with the same goats on the same sea, trying to stay afloat and put the devil in the yoke with a couple of God's quotes, I hope. Abraham talk, Muhammad talk, and Moses split the sea. I ain't trying to profit off the prophet, so this one here's for free. Abraham talk, Muhammad talk, and Moses split the sea. I ain't trying to profit off the prophet, so this one here's for free. And to the sisters and the mothers of ours who cover themselves cause they lovers of God, the creator of the worlds, sculptor of the stars. During Hajj we walk through Ramadan, we starve. Though you not eating, there's a feeding of the mind, a defeating of the demons, a seeing of the signs, a leaning on the lines from the servers getting purer. God deemed it unclean, there's no eating of the swine, nor drinking of the wine. We all been to his whim, so I send out greetings to my kind. I'm cordial to Mr. Norfolk, Mrs. Adams, you're the theme song when I'm Batman. Creflo, player, what's happening? I can hear the truth in your rappings. No sex before you marry, no grudges you should carry, no lying, not supposed to be gambling. Real talk, Abraham talk, Muhammad talk, and Moses. I know it sounds familiar. I ain't trying to profit off the prophet, we all the same, man. It's all a game, man. Like Jesus. The devil hate each and every one of us is exactly the same, no matter what you walk with. You know? And to my ox trying to stay on they deen, it gets mean, especially when you stay on the scene, and at the same time try to stay out of trouble. But don't forget, the blessing is in the struggle. The most forgiving will forgive it if you stay repentant and hustle. Gotta stay on your salats, your zakat, shukran. To my homies at Mesquite, astaghfirullah, Allah forgive us all, for we all are sinners. Bless us to be amongst the winners when it ends. But until then, please strengthen the mission within our hearts. All praises due to God, man. Telling it how it was taught to me. I ain't trying to sell it, can be bought for free. This is how it is, not how it ought to be. Muhammad talk to me, Jesus walk with me, I hope. Abraham talk, Muhammad talk, and Moses split the sea. I ain't trying to profit off the prophet, so this one here's for free. Abraham talk, Muhammad talk, and Moses split the sea. I ain't trying to profit off the prophet, so this one here's for free.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Living Islam Today. I'm your host, Brother Jihad Ahmed. This is a presentation of the Ahmed Media Company here on 900 AM, WURD, and 96.1 on the FM dial. We got a really good show in store for you today. Before we do anything, we'd like to open up with prayer. This prayer is entitled the Al-Fatiha, the opening. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all the praise and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of mankind and jinn and all that exists, the most gracious, the most merciful, the only owner and the only ruling judge. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. Guide us to the straight way, the way of those whom you have bestowed your grace, not the way of those who have earned your anger and those who went astray. Ameen. Once again, assalamu alaikum and welcome to Living Islam Today, a presentation of the Ahmed Media Company. I'm your host, Brother Jihad Ahmed, the CEO and president of the Ahmed Media Group. We got a dynamic show in store for you today. Today's date is August the 22nd. It is also the 3rd of Muharram, 1422. I want to give out the call. I want to give out the numbers a little bit early today. Telephone numbers to reach us here in the studio is 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065, or toll free at 1-866-364-8065. That's 1-866-634-8065. What'd I say, Eric? Did I say something wrong?
Yes.
What'd I say?
364-064.
I said 634
8065.
8065
And toll free
at 866.
361-0900.
I didn't say the one? Okay. 1-866-364-8065.
361.
Oh, 361. I appreciate you correcting me. That is my in the studio producer, Eric, making sure that I give out the correct toll-free number for you to call in. It is Saturday. It's a really beautiful, warm, muggy day out there today. I want to touch on. You're being funny today, Eric. 63361. Right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Eric. I won't make that mistake again throughout the rest of the day while I'm here. I'm going to remember that. Shout out to the sisters of the Living Islam Today radio show who did a fantastic job last week. You know, both of the producers in the studio, Eric and Mike. And Mike, I want to welcome you here. Are you here just on the weekends?
No.
Oh, you're here during the week too?
Yes, sir.
Well, fantastic. Welcome to Living Islam. We're here each and every Saturday from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. Shout out once again to the sisters who did a very dynamic show. Both producers that were in the studio last week had great things to say about Sister Nicole and Yasmin. They said that their show was well put together. Their the vibe that the two of them had together, bouncing off of one another, was really good. I was out of state. I was in Georgia. I was in Atlanta traveling and had the opportunity to check them out, and I was blown away. I was very, 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 very impressed with their show, and just well put together. Shout out to Sister Aliyah Kabir, who held it down a couple weeks ago, did a fantastic job on Hajj from a woman's point of view. A lot of brothers called up and was part of that show as well, but thanks to these dynamic and wonderful sisters that I have the privilege and the honor to work with here on this platform called Living Islam Today. Now, I want to put it out there that I'm also looking for a married couple to come in here to do a show on marital issues. You know, looking for a well-seasoned, well-balanced brother and sister to come in and be part of our team to, you know, talk about marital issues, you know, how to stay married, how to get married, how to hold on to that marriage, how not to walk out that door when she or he gets on your nerves. So I want to put it out there to let anyone know that if you're a married couple, you're seasoned, you got good chemistry, you don't mind being on the radio, and you don't mind being on social media, give me a call at 267-718-8986. That's 267-718-8986. Come be part of this movement that we started, this new project called Living Islam Today. I would love to have you. I would love to have you be part of this wonderful platform each and every Saturday from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. As I said before I went into the opening, we got a really great show in store for you today. After the break, we're going to be joined with a very good friend of mine, Sheikh Khalid Yassin. He has a new book out. We're going to be talking with him. Before we take our break, I just want to give the greetings to all of the brothers and sisters out there. And I have to thank every single person that has made a financial donation to the project here, Living Islam Today. Thus far, we have raised $6,000. Yes, we have raised $6,000. And as I told you earlier on, we started this project. It was going to cost us between $13,000 and $14,000 to keep this show on the air. We're almost there, brothers and sisters, and I'm so excited that you all have thought enough of this program to make financial donations to us. And I want to thank everyone that has made a pledge, everyone that has purchased a shirt. I'm rocking my shirt right now, the Living Islam Today shirt. I have the shirts in blue, gray, red, navy blue, army green, and this is the bold gold look right here. But we also have one that has multicolors in it. We call that the urban style. Those shirts are available for the low price of $25. When you purchase a shirt, all of those monies go back into being able to be here on 96.1 FM and 900 AM Word Radio. So we're very happy. We're very excited. We want to give salams out to all of the people that are shut in, that may not be able to make it out, to those that are sick in the hospital, to those that are in the senior homes, and for those that just for some reason can't make it out due to the COVID situation. We send the greetings of peace to you by saying Assalamu alaikum. If there's anything that we can do here for you on the show, Living Islam Today, give us a call. You can reach me at 267-718-8986. That's 267-718-8986. If it's nothing but we can drive by and bring you a box of food, if it's nothing that we can drive by and bring you the latest Juma khutbah from one of the local masjids throughout the city, let me know. Let me know. We will personally ride around and be able to help the shut-in people because they're not able to get out, and most of us are out and about. The city is look like it's opening up more. You know, local restaurants are going to start having indoor dining and everything. So if it's anything that we can do for the sick and shut-in, please give us a call. We make prayer for those brothers and sisters that we have lost, not just through COVID, but brothers and sisters that we have lost through gun violence, brothers and sisters that we've lost through cancer and other ailments and diseases. You know, we make prayer for them. We ask that the Creator has mercy on their soul and forgives them and make their stay in the grave, make it a stay of peace for them. A very special prayer for a beloved brother of mine who passed away a couple weeks ago. We had janazah prayer for him. He passed on a Friday. Brother Tawheed Baya. This is a brother that has always been dedicated and connected to the United Muslim Masjid as well as Universal Institute Charter School. This brother was my big brother in Islam, and I many times went to him for marital advice and how to raise my children and everything, and we lost our brother. And there's not been a day that has went by, even in the midst of my traveling, I've thought about him every day, at least one time during the day. I woke up this morning and I thought about him. He had a very beautiful smile. You ever run across somebody, they just have the same demeanor all the time? Well, that was our brother Tawheed Baya, and very good brother, man. You know, you ever run across people in life and, you know, you lose them and you miss them, you know. I really miss this brother. I miss him so much, man. He's a beautiful brother. I pray for his children that he left behind. I pray for his daughters. I especially pray for his youngest child, Bilal. Young Bilal grew up in the United Muslim Masjid. Young Bilal grew up being part of the Jawala Scouts, and he was there. You know, he was able to, you know, see his father. And at the janazah prayer, you know, he had the shovel and he was throwing the dirt. And, you know, shout out to him and his mother, Sister Amina Baya. Just really great people. And, you know, it's a little emotional for me because these are the people who I grew up with. This is my UMM family who I love so much. And on that note, I think it's time for me to take a break before I get too emotional here. You're listening and you're watching Living Islam Today. And we come back, we're going to be joined with our good brother, Sheikh Khalid Yassin. Assalamu alaikum.
Nearly 26% of Philadelphia's population lived below the poverty line in 2017. There's an increasing share of residents struggling to cover the most fundamental necessities. On a national level, Philadelphia was among the highest with poverty rates. Muslim Serve's mission is to develop and implement programs addressing food insecurity in collaboration with local community partners. Fundamentally, Muslim Serve strives to uplift those in our community by providing free, hot, nutritious meals. This is done by partnering with a variety of local community organizations and establishments with the goal to bring comfort to those in need and to relieve hunger in our area, no matter who they are. Veterans, students, people with disabilities, single parents, senior citizens, working class families, and children. Muslim Serve can be reached by phone at 833-486-4370 or by email at info@muslimserve.org. Learn more about Muslim Serve and what they do on their website, muslimserve.org, and on their social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Muslim Serve. You're listening to Living Islam Today, an Ahmed Media Company project on Word Radio, 900 AM and 96.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Living Islam Today here on 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Telephone numbers where you can be reached in the studio, 215-634-8065 or toll free at 1-866-361-0900. For those of us that are tuning in and joining us on the Facebook Live page, thank you so very much. We're so very happy that you all could join us. This portion of the show is being brought to you in part by our partners, our great, wonderful partners, Muslim Serves. Shout out to Brother Abdul Kawi, who is a major sponsor here for the Living Islam Today show. And the wonderful, beautiful thing that I love about the executive director, Abdul Kawi of Muslim Serves, is that he is doing something very great. He's feeding people across the city, across the Delaware Valley. Let me just share this with you before we get to our special guest that's joining us on the line today. Abdul Kawi and Muslim Serves and Caring Friends sponsored an ongoing feeding process with Philadelphia Sheriff Rochelle Bilal. Today we gave away in the West Philadelphia area and the North Philadelphia area a combination of 1,800 boxes of food, 1,800 half gallons of milk. This is what Muslim Serves does. This is what the work of Muslim Serves does. This is what the work of Brother Abdul Kawi is doing across the city. And him and I are planning a very beautiful, at the end of September, I think this is the date we're looking at. We're planning on having a major, mega, end of the summer feeding. That's all I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you the rest, but I'm just trying to tell you it's going to take place in the South Philadelphia area. Steaks and chicken is going to be on the menu. Yep, we're talking about pulling up a tractor trailer and giving out tons of food for the people throughout the city of Philadelphia, but especially the people in South Philadelphia. And this is going to be an Islamic project that we're doing, but no one, and I repeat, no one will be turned away. My guest today is a very dear friend of mine. I go back with Sheikh Khalid Yassin at least 20 plus years. I had the opportunity to meet him many years ago, and I like to think that I was part of, responsible for helping bringing our brother here in Philadelphia many years ago to the United Muslim Masjid. This is back in the day when we would have those good old-fashioned lectures at the masjid where we would bring in a keynote speaker. We would do the Jumu'ah khutbah. We would do a Friday night family talk. We would do a after Fajr prayer talk. We would do the radio show. We would do the Saturday evening talk, and we would end the weekend extravaganza with a Sunday program. He was one of those brothers, when I first made contact with him, he didn't hesitate. I didn't know this brother. I reached out to him. He came. I think at the time he was residing in Alabama. Well, guess what? He made every effort to be here. And that is how I was able to build a relationship with him. I know him as a imam, an uncle to me and my family, a activist in the community, a public speaker, an author, an entrepreneur. He has a wonderful new book out there we're going to be talking about today. The book is entitled Islam, America, and the World. So I'd like to welcome to the airways today my good friend, my uncle, my beloved brother, Sheikh Khalid Yassine. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
And Assalamu alaikum, Jihad. Very nice to be with you and your audience today.
Very nice to have you. Very nice to have you. Man, I remember when you and I first met, man, and we have been the very, very best of friends. You giving me Islamic advice, marital advice, raising my children advice. If I never, ever had the opportunity to thank you, I thank you for all the advice that you give me. Now, whether I took it or not is one thing, but I thank you for that advice, sir.
No, it's all reciprocal, Jihad. So, be honest, those of us that are in this work, not only do we get the blessings of God, but we get the benefit of seeing results sometimes. And when we don't see the results, we know that there's gratitude. So it's all reciprocal. Thank you for the invitation today and give me a chance to talk about the subject.
Now, for those who may know the voice but may not know the face, I encourage you to go to YouTube, type his name in, and look for a series of talks. One in particular called The Purpose of Life. Now, this is a classic. Now, you know how we have those imams and speakers who put out a classic tape. To me, I'm being biased. This topic, this tape, this series that the Sheikh spoke about, The Purpose of Life, this is his signature talk with me. This was a talk that he gave many, many, many years ago. And I really want you to go to YouTube, and I want you to pull it up and listen. But right now, the Sheikh has a new book out, and I'm excited. We're going to talk about this book. And I want to say, Sheikh, after all of these years, your experience in Islam, traveling all across the world, what made you right now want to write this book? And the title, so powerful, Islam in America and the World.
Well, Jihad, you know, everything in life, whether we recognize it or not, it's evolutionary. So, you know, we do things because we arrive at a certain time and place in a set of circumstances, and we do it. So this book is really a combination of my experiences, my perspectives, my exposure. And so at 74 years old, you know, I've said a lot, but writing is not like speaking. Speaking stays with people for a while, but when you write, it remains on the shelf or it remains in people's hands or homes or offices forever. So I decided, with the help and the encouragement of other people, to document my exposures, my experience, my perspectives on the subject.
Well, it definitely is a very powerful topic, and I know that you have traveled abroad many, many times, lived abroad, and you've probably been everywhere in this country, in the United States, and, you know, just being able to get your experience from this book and your rich knowledge that you have is definitely a joy to us. Is the book out yet, or can we pre-order the book?
No, what people can do is that, you know, Jad, you can give them our email, skypurpose@gmail. And what people can do is just they can send us an email and say that I would like to get a copy of Islam, America, and the World as an e-book or a printed book. And in 10 days, 7 days, it all depends upon, we're working out whatever we have to do with Amazon and Kindle and my marketing team. And, you know, what I've learned from the marketing people, that it's more important to make sure you finish your product than to set a date that, you know, get it out there at a certain date. No, we have to make sure the product is done, because you only get one chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 7 days, 10 days, maybe by the September the 1st, the book will be available as a printed book on Amazon. And then people that we have in our archives, it's available as an ebook.
Okay. Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, I want to get right into it, man. And I want to ask you, tell us about the book.
Well, Islam, America, and the World, the title says most of what people need to know. First of all, anybody can just Google and find out that no one, until today, no one wrote a book titled Islam, America, and the World. Because, when you say Islam, just not Islam in America, this Islam and America. So it's kind of inclusive. I got to talk about Islam as a system of life, not a religion, but a system of life. I got to talk about America as a civilization. And then we talk about the world, and you're moving it to the global spectrum. And you got to talk about Islam as a system of life. You got to talk about America as a civilization. And you got to talk about how it fits inside of the world. It's not an easy topic. It's easy to say, but it's not an easy topic. And because of that, no one, not an Orientalist, not a Muslim from another different country, not an African-American revert Muslim, no one wrote a book titled Islam, America, and the World, because it's very challenging to do so. And I thank God that he allowed me to do that. And what makes the book a bit different than, just a book that a Muslim wrote, is that I didn't write this for Muslims. I didn't write it because I just want people to know about Islam or to become Muslim or whatever. I wrote the book as a documentary. I want to document and clarify, that Islam is good for America because America needs social and moral reform. America requires social and moral reform. Otherwise, America is headed to the abyss. It's headed, in a direction that most Americans, if you admit it, we're going in a direction, that makes most of us sad and frustrated. That from a moral and ethical point of view, it seems that America has lost its way. No, it's lost its guidance. If it ever had it, it has lost guidance. And since Muslims now, there are about 7 million Muslims in America, maybe 8 million in North America, we have the ability to plant the ethical, the moral seed in American society, and therefore, from that point, Islam is good for America. And from another point of view, America is good for Islam. Why? Because America has the branding. America has the system. America has the institutions. America has the organization, the products, and the services. So it is my belief that if we Muslims especially plant the seed properly in America, it's going to produce a fruit that the whole world wants, that the whole world will be attracted towards, as they're attracted towards America. And therefore, we'll create a template for the world. So I think that's probably the most concise way to tell you why I wrote this book, because in traveling around the world, and just for your information, I've touched down and spent, a week or a month or whatever in 97 countries. And because of that, if you don't mind, I have to just answer this here, and I'm just going to stay on the radio.
Okay.
I'm on a radio program. I will call you right back in about a half an hour. So 97 countries around the world, and out of the 50 states of the United States, I have physically been in 41 of those states. I've lectured in about 150 universities. So, I kind of been on the road most of my, for the last 40 years, and sacrificed my family. And I'm not proud about sacrificing my family, but sacrifices have to be made. And so this book is about what I was able to extract from my travels, what I was able to extract from my interaction with human beings around the world, the experience that I gathered in terms of, my personal search for guidance and integrity, and especially for identity in traveling in Africa. And so this is what the book sort of like represents for me. It represents like bringing to the world and what I have gathered, my spin, my take, my insight, my advice, what I see, my vision about Islam. Because we can get books that's written about Islam. We have the Quran, that's the source. We have the books leading us to the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's the human source. However, the book and the sources, it doesn't tell you how to apply it in the place that you are, in the time that you are, in the circumstances, you understand me, that prevail in your life. And so you need guidance, experience, and exposure for that. And that's why I wrote this book.
You know, when we look at the Western world, I don't really think that the Western world really understands the religion of Islam. Could you elaborate on that? America just not understanding Muslims, not understanding Islam.
Well, that's the key right there. The last thing that you said. Aki, the problem is that when Muslim immigrants came to this country, they didn't come to this country to bring Islam. It was that Muslims came to America. But Islam and Muslims is something different. Islam is a system. Muslims are the people who claim to represent or embrace that particular system. So we have to take Muslims out of the formula. If you want to know about Islam, don't look at Muslims. Don't judge Islam by Muslims. You have to judge Islam by the system itself. Mathematics has to be separated from the teachers of mathematics. Because Islam is a system. It's a science. Okay? And this means as a system and a science, it is applicable anywhere, at any time, for anyone. And so when it talks about Islam in the Western world, I have never met anyone in the Western world. I have been to 19 countries in Europe, Eastern and Western Europe. I've been all over North America and Australia. And I mean, if this is the Western world, I have found a great reception and appreciation from Western-minded people, educated people, intellectual people, business-minded people. I haven't had any problems in interacting with them, with Islam. Most of the problems that I found that people have with what they think is Islam is really Muslim. And the reason why is because, Muslims is always putting Islam, as a passenger in the vehicle of their culture. Islam is not a passenger in the vehicle of nobody's culture, if you want to put it away. No, Islam is the vehicle. And the culture is the passenger. The passenger can drive the vehicle, but the passenger is not the vehicle.
Right.
So when you pull up on somebody and you thinking, you're going to present Islam to them, what the people are saying is the Muslim culture. And so, we can say African culture, Eastern, Asian culture, and we can say Arab culture. Most of what we see about Islam on the bookshelves, in the mosques, in the Muslims, is culture. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm not blaming Muslims. It's just human nature. Human nature is always that the human being wants to identify. Human being wants to personify who they are, and therefore they take their religion, they take their values, they take their ethics, okay, and they personalize it. That's the problem. So what I'm trying to do with Islam, America, and the world, first of all, is I'm talking about what is Islam. I'm not talking about who are the Muslims. When you talk to people and the word Islam comes up, without even people thinking about it, it's like knee-jerk. What comes up is terrorism.
Yes.
What comes up is extremism. What comes up is fanaticism. What comes up is social dysfunction. What comes up, you understand me, is like Muslims are socially dysfunctional. Muslims are antisocial. Muslims are social, are selfish. Muslims, you understand me, want to do their own thing. They got their own rules. They got their own diet. They got their own dress. They got this and that. And inside the communities where they live in, they're not they don't interact with the rest of the community.
Ooh.
They will do something for themselves, but they don't do anything for the greater community itself.
That's
so
deep.
What I'm trying to do with my book, and I don't want to dominate. I don't want to dominate the airwaves.
No, go ahead.
I want to take advantage, of you having a cultivated audience. To put it that way, and just for your audience to let them know, I'm as much from Philadelphia as you are. I'm not into the east, west, north, south of Philly. I'm from Philly, okay? And I love Philly. I know the difference between Philly and New York. Although I was born in New York, I'm a pure New Yorker. But when I'm in Philly, I love Philly, and I love the distinction of Philly. So I'm talking as a person who is concerned about Philadelphia, just like I would be concerned if I was in New York about New York. And I'm concerned about human beings. And so what I have found in my experience is that, let's take Philadelphia for an example. I don't know, at last count, there's maybe about 146 mosques, Islamic centers, Islamic enclaves, whatever you want to call it, in the greater Philadelphia area. But for the most part, they don't do anything for the neighborhood where they're at. Now, you were mentioning about Brother Abdul Qawi, and may Allah bless the brother, for the service that he's doing in the community. Now, that's Islamic work. I'm not saying that prayer inside the mosque is not Islamic. I'm not saying that reading the books and reciting the Quran and, dressing like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or, whatever you want to call the epistemology that brothers and sisters are promoting. I'm not saying that's not Islamic, but it's not the maqasid. In Arabic, the word is maqasid. It means the objective. The objective of Islam is to serve human beings. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was asked. They said, "O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam," they said, "Who is the best person?" Now think about this now. Who is the best person? See what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said? He said, "Khairun nas ma yanfu'un nas." That means the best of people is he or she that serves other human beings. And that tells you what Islam is. And Islam, is about giving food when people don't have food. Islam is about giving relief for people who's in pain and people who's disadvantaged. Islam is about coming to the aid of people. Islam is about assisting the people, who need assistance, the elderly and the children. Islam is about being down at City Hall when there's a City Hall meeting. Islam is about being at the schools, when there's a parent-teacher meeting. Islam is about being, there when the sheriff, or the people in justice, criminal justice,
city council members.
When they call you to sit down and talk about issues in the community, about crime and drugs and other issues, Islam is about Muslims, their leadership, their families, being there, listening, participating. Islam is a wake up and smell of coffee religion. Islam, is a bread and butter religion. Islam is like, digging wells for people who ain't got food, don't have water religion. Islam is about, setting up soup kitchens, or if that's what they call it, the feeding places. That's the kind of religion Islam is. Islam is not praying inside the masjid with your particular dress. Islam is not the rituals that you perform inside of a building. Islam is not, getting together in a conference and talking about bringing scholars from around the world and talking about your epistemology. No, Islam is not that. No, Islam is about the people. And Islam is also about the people who are not Muslims, because ain't nobody got to be Muslim to be served. Islam is not like that. Islam is universal. Islam is like water. Water is for everybody. Islam is like air. Air is for everybody. Islam is like medicine. Medicine for everybody. Islam is like food. Food is for everybody. So in my book, I'm trying to change the thinking about Islam so that people will understand that Muslims are only so-called representatives of Islam. I'm not saying, that they're not legitimately representatives. I'm not getting into that. But guess what? I'm not following no personality. And guess what? God is not inside the church, and God is not inside the mosque. And Islam is not inside the mosque, and religion is not inside the church. If you want to find out a person that is really religious, see what they do inside the community. See what they do, see what kind of behavior that they have. Another tradition that the Prophet he said, "Brother, I have been sent to correct and to perfect and to refine human behavior." And look at that. That means that whatever people want to be talking about, the prayers, the fasting, the zakat, the hajj, the kalimatul la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, all of that is to do what? Refine your behavior. And if you want to know how good of a Muslim a person is, don't go to the mosque and see how they pray. Don't look at the clothes they're wearing, whether male or female. Don't see how much Quran they're reading. Don't see how many hadiths they can recite or what schools they went to. See how they are with their neighbors. When the Prophet died, when he was dying, the word dying, that's like he's dying. When he was dying, he was on his bed, and his wife was sitting in that room. And she saw him talking back to somebody, answering, and she was saying, she didn't see nobody. And the Prophet told her that this was Jibreel. He came to me, and Jibreel, the angel Jibreel, came to me, and he was warning me about my neighbors. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
After 23 years of the Prophet suffering and working neighbor. That's why he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, whoever goes to sleep at night with a full stomach and you didn't think about your neighbor, you're not a Muslim. Now, get to that part. You're not a Muslim. You ain't no believer because you wear some clothes, you recite some words, you do some kind of rituals, and you wear your beard or you wear your turban or you got your niqab on, you got your clothes on, and, you know, you got that cultural thing and your swagger, and you belong to this and that, the nice masjid and the minarets, or you built this and you built that. Y'all got nice rugs and you eat halal food and you blah blah blah. Okay, all that's good. That go with the deen, but that's not the deen. The deen is service. You know, go back to the history of the Prophet ﷺ when he was a young man, 18 years old, before the revelation came to him. He belonged to a group called Hilf al-Fudul. Hilf al-Fudul. It means a people who have a pact with doing goodness. That's like the 4-H Club. That's like the Boys of America, the Boy Scouts of America. That's like the people who just want to do good. You know what I mean? It ain't about the church. It ain't about the religion. They just want to do good. Prophet ﷺ was with them. And he said later on in life, wallahi, if another group came along like that, I would join them. So what kind of work was our Prophet ﷺ doing? He was about a man he was a social worker. You know, he was a social activist. And so I just discovered in the last 10 years of my life, I'm 74 now, so around 60 years old, 62 years old, you know, after I have attained Islamic literacy, you know, after I've obtained a certain amount of exposure, you know, and people call it maybe celebrity status or blah, 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 whatever, I started discovering the defects in myself. And what's the defects in myself? That I'm not really doing the work. So about 15 years ago, I started traveling around the world. We dug wells. We dug like 19 wells. Can you believe how you change a village when you dig a well? Do you understand how you change the life of some people when you dig a well? Now the animals can have water. Now the people can plant and they can farm. Now the people that got water, they can wash. You know what I'm saying? So you can revolutionize a group of people by just digging a well. So how many of us dug a well? You know, all the Muslims talking about the dress they wearing, the books they got on their shelves. How many of them dug a well? How many of them built an orphanage? How many of them, you know what I mean? I told some sisters to get together, 100 sisters to get together, get them a sewing machine and train them sisters how to sew. So them sisters ain't got to be begging. How many Muslims did that? It's just like you was talking about giving out 1,800 meals. 1,800 meals? Man, we need to give out 18,000 meals. You know, the Muslims don't even realize this, that 20 years ago, the Salvation Army, the Catholic Relief Services, and other Protestant and religious agencies was the ones that was distributing food. You remember that, Jihad?
I remember. They're
not distributing food anymore. They got food banks now.
Yes.
And the biggest distributors of the food in the United States of America today, you know who they are?
Who are they?
Hindus. Now, while the Muslims got their face in the rug, you know, while Muslims is arguing, you know, about the clothes you're supposed to wear, while Muslims, you know, is bringing scholars from all over the world and tell them, you know what Islam is according to the sources and blah, 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 the Hindus is doing the work. Come on, man. You know, brothers got attitudes and talking crazy, stupid talk, you know, man, about the Nation of Islam, you know, whether they Muslims or not and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? All the brothers and sisters who got the right ideology, who got the right epistemology, who got the nice masjids with the rugs, and they dressing right, what they doing? What they doing about the crime in the neighborhood? Man, they can't even control their sons and daughters talking about crime in the neighborhood. They can't even do nothing. When the bullets start flying, the brothers and sisters are staying inside the masjid.
Sheikh, what I want to do, we got about 10 good minutes left, and I got 2 callers. I want to try to squeeze them in as quick as I can.
This is your show. Stop me when you stop me, man, 'cause I'm a ripper.
I know you are. We're going to go to Brother Jacob. Brother Jacob, welcome to the show. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, walaikum salam, Brother Jihad. Man, this brother on fire, man. He doesn't, man, I'm ready to get that book now. But you know what? He's from Philly. Look, man, you know, back in the day, we used to say you drafted. Brother, we drafting you, man. So you from Philly.
I'm ready, brother. I'm ready. You know, that's what I live for.
Man, it's so beautiful to hear the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Because, again, we live in a place where your name, Jihad, incited fear in people at one time. You say jihad, they say, oh, my God, that means they're getting ready to kill something, you know. They didn't, you know. But when you hear what Islam really is and what this brother's talking about is what we got to do. And again, that is the son of the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We're,
All right.
we're going to jump.
I'm done. That's what I want to.
Thank you. We're going to jump to the next caller, Yasmin on line 3 from South Philly. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. So I just wanted to say that I definitely agree with you, brother. The information that you're providing to the community is imperative. I remember sitting and telling someone that I felt like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam resembled, a social worker of his time. And I felt like that's what Muslims should be, we should also be resembling as Muslims. It's all in our actions and not in the things that we are memorizing. It's all in our implementation of the deen.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, my sister. Allah bless you for that observation.
Now, Brother Carl, what we're having here, I just want you to know this. I don't know if you're in Philly right now, but just this weekend alone, this past weekend, we have had over 40 homicides here in the city of Philadelphia. In the city of Philadelphia, we have had at least 40 homicides. And on top of that, I'm willing to bet you that for a great majority of these homicides that we have had at least 10 janazas. As a matter of fact, there was a young brother that was shot. I don't know if he was killed or not. He was 7 years old. You know what? He was killed. He was a Muslim. Janazah prayer. So what we have here that's going on, that a lot of the crime that's going on is happening to a lot of the Muslims in the city of Philadelphia right now.
Well, Brother Jihad, listen, first of all, I want to thank your audience just for listening to me. And, I got a lot to say, man. I wish I could just come and talk with you for about an hour straight. Just give me an hour straight, man. I could do it like Black Thought. Like he did for 10 minutes.
The next time you in Philadelphia, and it's on a Saturday, we're going to do that. We're going to make it happen.
I love all the young people. Listen, let me just say this here. The crime that's happening, this is a pathology. This is an urban pathology. That's what I want to say. It's an urban pathology. It's an urban phenomena of frustration and confusion, okay? And if the Muslims, who's supposed to be in touch with God, if they can't, along with the Christians, if the Muslims and the Christians and the scriptural people who's supposed to be in touch with God, if they can't deal with the pathology, they got the wrong religion.
Now,
what urban pathology? This ain't no issue about inside the masjid. We got to come outside the masjid, man, and we got to deal with the people who got this pathology. These are our sons. These are our daughters. These are our neighbors. This is the people that's in our neighborhood that's doing this here crazy stuff. Now, listen, you can't just be blaming the youth who be doing that. Because you can't blame an animal or a horse that's running wild because he ain't got no reins. All the OGs, they fronting with the clothes and the oils and the this and the that. They're worried about the food and the right religion and all that there. And the whole community is coming down.
Yes.
We got to address the pathology. And if our religion is not addressing the pathology, it's not the religion is wrong. It's that, you got the wrong approach to the religion. So that's why I wrote this here book, Islam, America.
Sheikh, what I want to try to do, I want to try to squeeze this last caller in before we get out of here today.
No problem.
Brother Stanley, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum, Jihad. And I really appreciate your guest, man. We've seen each other earlier, and I was going to let it move on. But he hitting every note that I would have saying in reference to the Muslims in the city of Philadelphia. Not all of them, but the leadership is mute on the murdering of a 7-year-old Muslim. And instead of them calling calling us to come out and work in the community, I'm calling them to have a sit down with them so they can call the brothers out of the masjids and to come out and help us. We out in these streets trying to help this, but we don't get no help from the leadership of the Muslim community leadership in the city of Philadelphia. So I thank the brother for bringing that. Everything he said is correct.
Thank you, Brother Stanley. That was Brother Stanley, who's in charge of the Black Male Council of Philadelphia here today. And I was with him earlier today, and his son, he lost his son tragically a few years ago, homicide. So this is, in fact, the anniversary today of the death of his son, who was killed who was killed violently here in the city of Philadelphia. But I'm happy to say that one of the individuals that was responsible for Brother Stanley's son's death was captured at least 2 months ago. Sheikh, it's been a dynamic, it's been a wonderful show. I need to have you here in the studio where we can just have the whole hour and just go with you for 1 hour.
Well,
you got to give me that.
Jihad, you're like a son to me. So it's like I don't even have to tell you that you can get me. It ain't no problem. It's just about the logistics. That's it. I love you for the sake of the law. I love the message that you're doing. If you call me in the middle of the night, I'm with you. So and the last thing I just want to say is that I'm not incriminating or saying anything about the Muslim leadership because, like they OGs who have done some work and struggled and they deserve respect and all of that there. But guess what? This Islam ain't about the past. This Islam is about right now and the future. And so if we find some people who made some struggle, but they can't do much more because they ain't got the tools or whatever, then we got to bring in a whole new cadre.
Now let everybody know the name of your book, how they can get in contact with you, because people are inboxing me and they're saying, what's the name of the book? I need the book.
The name of the book is Islam, America, and the World. And if you go to Sky Purpose, Sky, S-K-Y, Purpose, @gmail.com, just go there and say, I would like to have the book. Give us your email. Give us your phone contact number. Say, I would like to have the printed book, or I would like to have the e-book. We're going to put it into the archives, and then in a week or 10 days or whatever, you're going to get a message for us that the book is ready. And then from that point, we're going to lock. We're going to what do you call it? Lock and play, or lock and load, or whatever the case might be. You will get your copy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, it's been a wonderful show, and we have run out of time, but I definitely want to have you here in the studio. So I'm going to call you offline and figure out how we're going to do that. Maybe in September we can work something out and have you here in the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank Philadelphia. Thank all your people. Thank all the Muslim brothers and the leaders and all that make dua. And I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm leaving from you, and I'm going to another spot and send me to do some more work. That's
yes,
what
sir.
I'm doing.
Well, keep up the great work, sir. I appreciate you, and I love you so very much.
Thank you very much, Jihad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. It's been a really great show, man. It's been a really awesome show. Man, I'm speechless here. Very rare that I get on the mic and I don't have nothing to say. But I think Sheikh Khalid Yasin has basically said everything that I was feeling, everything that Yasmin was saying, everything that our brother Michael Cord was thinking and feeling. Our brother Sheikh Khalid Yasin was able to extract it from our hearts and our minds. This show right here, Living Islam Today, it's important. It's important that we keep this show on the air. I'm willing to do what I have to do to fundraise, to keep this show here, but there's not an organization, there's not a masjid, there's not an individual, both Islamic community, the Christian community, the political community, that has not benefited from this show that has been in existence. This show is an extension of Living Islam Today. Living Islam Today is the new extension. Help me and the team of people that work with me to keep this show on the air. How can you do it? This is what I need you to do. Go to our Cash App, $ Islam Radio, ISLAM RADIO. That's $ ISLAM RADIO. Make a donation. Call me up, 267-718-8986. Make a pledge. As I told you in the beginning of the show, we have raised $6,000 already to keep this show on the air. It cost us $13,000 a year to be here. If you enjoyed this show today, if you enjoyed the sisters last week, if you enjoyed Sister Aliyah Kabir, if you enjoyed the programs from the past, of the past hosts, then I'm asking you, as your brother, help us to be able to keep this show on the air. I pray and I ask Almighty God, Allah, for the things that I said that were good, they were from Him. The things that Sheikh Khalid Yasin that were good, that the Sheikh said, they were from Him. Anything that we said that was wrong, that was an error, that was from us. Those were our mistakes from our nafs. I pray and I ask Almighty God to allow us to be back here again. I pray that this show, what you heard today, can be used as an instrument to help you. The religion of Islam is a tool that we, the Muslims, need to go out and promote to the people. You can't look at the Muslims and say that that's Islam, because if you were to do that, here in Philadelphia, you would think that a great majority of the Muslims are drug dealers. If you were to look at Fox News and CNN, you would think that a great majority of the Muslims were terrorists. The religion of Islam is peace, and Prophet Muhammad was sent with this religion. Assalamu alaikum, family. We'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.